Yo, what's up, everybody out there in YouTube land? Triple B's is back in the Haunted Basement Studio once again, and welcome. And in today's video, we're going to be talking Slasher the Ripper, episode 2. I just did episode 1, and now here's 2. And because part 3 is coming out tomorrow night, every Thursday. So, this show has so far got me jacked to the tits, baby. So let's check out Slasher the Ripper, episode 2, right now. The Ripper strikes again in the devil's elbow. A man is getting ready to be hanged, and the reporter and the editor, they look on. And as they put the noose around the man's neck, because they believe he's Jack the Ripper. The detective now remembers 12 years in the past when he first came upon the first murder of the Ripper, and that victim's name was Margaret. The man that's being hung, we believe, has been falsely accused because the reporter and the editor are having second thoughts. They're saying that news is made of your words. He killed and mutilated her corpse, though. And if he did not, this is indeed murder, and one you'll have to atone for. And the body drops and the crowd goes off. They start cheering. Detective Kenneth now makes his way down to the devil's elbow, where the bodies lie of Terrence and Dixie. The editor of the paper is there, and she's taking pictures of the deceased. Kenneth is not happy that the paper is giving the killer a name, the Widow. She comes back and says, well, if you would talk to the people in this corner, you will know that it wasn't the Widow that killed these people. It was Eddie Jacobs, Basil Garvey's right-hand man, the lynchman. But we'll blame this one on the Widow and leave those rich bastards alone. Alright, man, so we got Regina Simcone. She goes to the musician. She's asking for help. She wants to know more about her husband's death. He says, well, we can do a seance. She says, I want it done today, no matter the cost. He says, well, you're going to have to bring some friends. This is a must. So she calls on to the Botticelli sisters. But only Viviana goes because they are bitches. Man, I fucking hate these girls. Man, I love Verdi though. And they say, your foolish guilt couldn't have healed so quickly. Hence what happened at the end of the last episode. And we can't just trust you with any man. Plus, you have chores to do. The detective now is questioning Eddie Jacobs, but the chief of police lets him go. And when he lets him go, Eddie tells the chief, he informs him that he did not kill Terrence, that it must have been the Widow. And then the chief looks scared as shit. Mr. Garvey is walking down the streets where he is met up with a young man. He's the preacher. And his father was the one that was hung at the beginning of the episode. He is telling him to go to church instead of going down and fucking those whores. Mr. Garvey says, what good did that do your father? All it got him was hanging from the end of a rope. The preacher says, well, you can blow and bluster all you want, but even you answer to God for your sins, past, present, and if you will not repent, the devil may send a Widow for you. Find goodness and purity, for the Widow will show you no mercy. Mr. Garvey leaves the preacher and he walks into the paper where Edith is running the printing press. She is working on the second print of the Widow's story. He says that he wants her to kill the fucking story. Kill the fucking Widow story. But I don't understand. We haven't sold this many papers in, yeah, I know, 12 years. Kill the fucking story forever. You're the one that made the Widow. Now I'm burying her. If we kill it, then the real story's gonna get out. He turns around and gives her a sinister look and says, "What story is that?" The town's philanthropist, Basil Garvey, directs his lynchmen. He turns around and he grabs her throat and says, "When are you gonna realize that you don't exist without me? Now say it." He grabs her and turns her around and slams her head into a bucket with water and ink. And he says, "You owe everything to me. I am the truth around here." And he slams her again. "I am life and I am death. And you are just a maggot that does my bidding for me. Have you forgotten? Every single word you print and add in this fucking church bazaar all has to get approved by me." The detective approaches the chief of police, but he takes him off the Terrence and Dixie murder case. He says that you're too young. I don't want you to get hurt. He's like, "Look, I've done some investigating. This is what I found." And he pulls out Allison Sincone's journal. And he's like, "Look, he has printings of the Margaret's killings 12 years ago. I caught that sick fuck. I'm not listening to this." "Well, what if Allison Sincone had something to do with this and we got the wrong guy? What if Basil Garvey is ordering these killings, covering up the Ripper's murders?" Edith Jenkins, the editor of the paper, and the girl that got threatened and almost killed by Basil Garvey, goes down to the bar where she meets with the bar owner. And she's like, "Give me some fucking dirt on Basil because I want to print it in the paper." And he's like, "Basil Garvey knows everything that I know what he's done. So I do not want to end up in the morgue. And I'm a smarter man than that. My answer will always be no." And then you hear, "Well, unlike him, I'll never say no." The detective's back at the morgue and is investigating the latest victims. He says that Daisy died of misadventure, but the death of the pimp was premeditated, so it must have been the widow. He asks the mortician, "Did you find a message on the body?" She says, "I haven't, but you're free to look." And he was looking at the decapitated head, and he comes to realize that the widow is left-handed by how the decapitation went. Edith is talking with the queen at the bar, and she pays her for some picture of Basil Garvey doing dominatrix. And now we're gonna cut to the seance scene, and where you got the musician and his assistant there at his house, and you got the Botticelli sisters, and well, just Viviana. And so this is how it ends up going down. "Please protect us." "He did not protect me. Why should he protect you or anyone?" "Who are you, spirit? Do you have a name?" "I am Alistair Simcone. I was, but I was murdered. Murdered. And my executioner still walks free." Do you know who killed you?" "She hides behind a widow's veil, lurking, waiting until she can strike again and again. Twice the bell has tolled, 6 times more it will, and only then will Margaret be avenged." And an absolutely crazy seance scene. I didn't think they were going to go that paranormal, but they did, and I loved it. Mr. Garvey shows up where Birdie's at in that big old house, and they're all alone. She's like, "Mr. Garvey, Vanita has gone to meet Viviana at Mrs. Sincone's house. Perhaps." "I know what I want, and I always will do. But what do you want, my dear?" to live here in this empty shell of a house, scrubbing your sister's floors while they enjoy themselves among society? Do you not deserve so much more than that? I can give you the world, anything you desire, the life you so richly deserve. And while I know that I love you already, I understand it might take some time. You're engaged to my sister. No, no. We're close. It's true. She and Viviana are angling for something I never promised. Viviana has no engagement ring. All I really owe her is a little common courtesy. So I'll wait an appropriate amount of time before you and I announce our engagement. And she's like, what? And then all of a sudden, her sisters walk in and catch her with Mr. Garvey by themselves. And he says, I was just leaving. And he takes off. And these sisters look at her with the most sinister looks I ever seen. And they start fucking whipping her with a fucking whip. Whap, whap. And she's like, how am I getting punished for something unwillingly knowing what I did? And now Edith is back alone at the printing shop. She's in the black room, the red room, whatever you call it, and she's printing up the dominatrix pictures of Basil Garvey. She hears some noise and she goes and investigates, and she like doesn't see anybody there, but it looks like the door was ajar, so she locks it. She puts down the little hammer that she had for protection, and all of a sudden behind her the widow appears, and she turns around and she's pleading with the widow. She's saying, you know, you want me to print the truth. I'm trying to print the truth for you right now. The widow fucking grabs her, and the printing press is on, and it's rolling and it's rolling and it's rolling. And there's like, I'm like, oh my God, are they gonna do it? And they do. Edith goes first hand into the wheel, followed by her arm all the way to her head, and she goes in, and blood's just going clunk, 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 clunk. Cut credit scene. The fucking widow is bad ass. All right, man. Final thoughts and rankings on the Ripper Slasher, like season 5, episode 1 and 2. Pretty much a movie right here. Watch them both back to back. It's a fucking great movie, and it's gonna leave on a great cliffhanger. The widow fucking costume, attire, awesome. I love it. It's very simple, but it's very effective. I mean, I fucking dig it. And she's busting out the knife. He or she, I'm saying, I don't know. And again, this is definitely a murder mystery, a whodunit. But for me, I'm not trying to fucking pick out who is the killer. I'm just along for the ride, and I can't wait to find out at the end. And so episode 3 comes out tomorrow night on Thursday. And so I will definitely be doing a review on that one. So if you don't want to miss that, hit that sub button. Don't hit it, stab it like the widow does. And hit that notification bell. And so my final ranking still, I'm holding a 9 out of 10. Awesome. Awesome shit. Almost love it. You know what? By the end of the series, I can end up making this a 10 out of a 10. It's that good so far. But we gotta hold our horses. So thank you all for joining me in Haunted Basement Studio. I really do appreciate it. And watch that one up there. And you keep it whore. They does.